So I heard that. I suspect you did too. So that's our recording up and running. Welcome one and all. My name is Dick Kirkham. You will also see Jenny, who's the co-convener of the Insessional SIG. I will admit 2 more people if I can. Jenny, can you do? Could you let those? That's super. So we've got a double bill today from ourselves. First up, we've got our AGM, which will last a few minutes, we hope and expect, and then it's a talk from myself on this occasion and Dr. Kostas Loizou of the University of Leeds. But we will begin with the AGM if we can. We'll just pause while our 2 people who've just come in settle. Okay, great. Just give me a thumbs up. You can still see these slides. You can see a slide that says AGM agenda. Just give me a thumbs up or a wave if that's the case. Fantastic. Thanks very much, Julia. Right, so we've got 6 points to our agenda. Apologies for absence, minutes of previous AGM, matters arising, and some committee reports of future plans AOB. So let's roll. Apologies for absence we've received from members of the committee are there. We haven't received any other apologies for absence. So that's the first item done. Secondly, this is items 2 and 3 together regarding the minutes of last year's AGM. So the minutes were sent out on the 12th of January. We didn't receive any comments from the membership on those, which is fine. That's no problem at all, but we're just noting that that's the case. Are there any questions now about the minutes of the AGM 2025 at this point? I'm going to take that as that there aren't any questions, which is what we've come to expect. That's absolutely fine, no problem. So as a final question, D there, just to ask whether we are, those of us in attendance, if we are members of the Ballyp Insessional SIG, are we happy to take the minutes as a record of the last year's AGM? Or if not, feel free to say that there's something to discuss there. So are we happy to take those as a record? I'm not hearing any objections to that at this point, so I think we will consider that to be a yes. Okay, we move to the reports from various members of the committee, and I'll hand over to Jenny at this point for the co-conveners report.
Okay, so in the last year, our SIG has maintained, we say maintained essentially, our membership. We're down slightly from 180 to 177, but that will be with some people leaving and new people joining. We've organised 4 guest speaker events, 2 chat events, and for the foreseeable future, this academic year, we've got 1 further chat event and 1 further guest speaker event so far, and there'll be details of that later. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Has that come through?
Not yet.
Can others, can we see the Secretary's report, anybody?
Yeah,
we
can. Yeah, okay.
Great. Sorry, Jenny.
So we've got 177 subscribers to our JISC mail. This is what we use to announce events, and members can also post messages there. The secretaries, Deborah and Jess, check the inbox regularly and monitor that, and also the minutes of all our committee meetings are taken and shared amongst the committee. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Treasurer's report up there, I hope.
Now, do we have Neil?
Neil is, I think, not.
Okay, so do you want me to do the Treasurer's report?
For sure, go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so we've still got a bank account with Metro, the 3 co-signatories from the committee. Metro Bank are now charging that should be £30 per month, apologies. No, £3 per month, not 30, that would be ridiculous.
That's correct.
£3 per month, so that's something we need to consider for the future. We spent £24.99 on a copy of Tibbets and Chapman's book on Insessional EAP, so our balance is currently £334.06. Thank you.
Not at all. Social media and web officers, and that's social media first. If that white backed slide is coming up, I don't think our social media committee member is here, so I can do this one. We know younger those that no longer use X, that's committee decision. We are using LinkedIn with those connections there, 367, and YouTube is also up where we post up the recordings. 33 videos are up, 54 subscribers. So that's that. Web-wise, we have a website, who knew, and it's still there, and you can find information about the Insessional SIG on it. So that's great too. Events coordinator, back to Jenny, I think, for this.
So our events coordinator in Jenna has helped us organise a number of events this year. I'm actually going to just leave the screen there for you to see and peruse the information and the details and see if you've got any questions rather than read through it all.
If I, in a moment, I'll just flick to the next slide. There we are. That's 3 more events taking us up to December of last year. Okay.
And future plans, following on from that, we've got hopefully further chat events later in the year, and our next guest speaker after today will be Sarah Mattin from the University of Reading. We also continue to support our membership, and anyone who is interested in presenting an event, there's a link here, and I'll also put it in the chat at the end where you can just complete a very brief proposal form with your details and the sort of idea that you're thinking of presenting and the format you'd like to use. The other thing to say about all of those events that we've just flashed up on the screen is that recordings of those are available via our website and on our YouTube channel as well.
Great stuff. So, I think that's it. Yeah. Is that the AGM done?
That's the AGM done in 6 minutes. And on the topic of future events, our event today is Deacon Costas on Insessional EAP in mathematics. So I shall hand over to both of you. Thank you very much for agreeing to come and talk to us today about your collaboration.
Absolute pleasure. And just to say for the record, this is the first time I've presented at the SIG, of which I'm the co-convener. So it's not a regular thing, and it won't continue to be. But yeah, today wearing those 2 hats, which I hope is okay. So hopefully those slides with the green back and our names on them have come full screen. And welcome one and all. Therefore, 2-hour presentation, which will last about, I think, about 45 minutes, something like that. On Insessional collaborations. My name is Dee Kirkham, and my colleague today is...
My name is Costas. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me in your SIG. I'm a lecturer in mathematics here at the University of Leeds, and I've been working with Dick.
So, the overview today, we're going to just talk about the collaboration that goes back a couple of years now, indeed a couple more, so many, many months between Costas and myself. That's essentially, that's a pretext of things, let's say, the collaboration. 1A, 1B, 1C, we'll just chart how we, in our separate contexts initially, Costas in a particular context, me in another particular context, started getting our heads around mathematics and EAP, academic literacies, mathematics communication, whatever we wish to call it. Then we'll look at how we developed independently, and then when we met each other, how we worked together. And that will lead to part 2, which is the high point, I think, of the collaboration to date, which is a soon-to-be-released open access student-facing book called The Academic Language of Mathematics, which we are co-writing with Dr. Shui Chen. So that's the overview for today. So part 1, introductory narrative stuff, and part 2, a look at the one of our outputs, the academic language of mathematics. So let's start with 1A, the initial contexts in which we found ourselves working some years ago at the beginning of our respective journeys. Over to yourself, Costas.
So a bit of a background for myself. I'm a lecturer in mathematics and I teach for the joint school that we have in Chengdu, China. This is a transnational education partnership between the University of Leeds and Southwest Shelton University. So we are delivering 7 engineering programs this year. And the students study with English as the medium of instruction in China. They get a dual degree from both Leeds and our partner university. The degrees are 4 years long, with the first year being common for all the 7 programs, kind of like a foundation year. And I teach mathematics in year 1 of the joint school. With this year, we had about over 500 students.
Great stuff. So while Kostas is primarily, of course, a mathematician, but working in an EMITNE context with where the English is a medium of instruction, I find myself in the UK, the University of Leeds, and delivering EAP provision into the School of Mathematics at the University of Leeds. And that role began a number of years ago now. Before Kostas and I knew each other, right? So that's where I was beginning in this separate world. So over to Kostas in terms of the challenges that we faced in our respective roles at the beginning of our respective times in those roles.
So when I first started this role teaching mathematics, I thought that language wouldn't be an issue at all, that students wouldn't struggle with the language. I thought that it would be just more just about the mathematics, especially since we have the mathematical symbols that we can use. But teaching in this TNE context, I've soon realized that we have a bidirectional challenge. Why do I say bidirectional? Well, first of all, students often are not able to understand everything from the lectures due to the language barrier. Not always, but that's often the case. That's one direction. And going in the other direction towards me, students are often not able to communicate mathematics in English, to ask their questions. Of course, it helps that we have the mathematical symbolism to express problems and ideas, but that's not ideal to only use that. So I've started thinking about how to bring language in my mathematics lectures to better support the students and overcome these challenges.
So for myself, as I took on the role of the embedded EAP lecturer in the School of Mathematics at this university, I faced a number of challenges, one of which was I sort of shared Kostas's sort of assumptions early on. I thought that there might be, because of the symbolism and the nature of mathematics as a discipline and how it can communicate its content through its own particular system of symbols, I wondered whether the language might be quite as central as it may be in, say, the business or history or many, many disciplines. And that was one of the things I carried into, or one of the assumptions I had. I found that that's not the case, and we'll chart my developing and Kostas and I's developing understanding of that as we go through this this presentation. Other challenges on the slide. So mathematics is not an easy subject, I think, to grapple with in terms of its concepts, how it presents itself. It's quite a tough stuff, or at least that's my experience of it. So the texts were not as accessible for me as I had the experience I'd had with other disciplines. The time that I began this role, we were in the middle of lockdown. That didn't necessarily help things that easily. In terms of pedagogy, so I started immediately sort of producing materials that I thought might speak to the students' contexts and their needs, but there were challenges there. Of course, the first one there, connecting up through technology, was problematic in the first year or two of this role that I had, or I have.